The Witch's 100 Bedtime Wishes. In the cozy little village of Willowbrook, there lives a kind-hearted witch named Luna. Luna has a special bedtime ritual. Every night, as the moon rises high in the sky, she sits by her window, looking out at the twinkling stars, and makes a wish. These are not ordinary wishes, they are filled with love, hope, and a touch of magic. Over time, Luna has amassed 100 such bedtime wishes. Some are for the well-being of the villagers, like making sure the harvest is bountiful or that the children never go hungry. Others are for the beauty of the natural world around her, such as wishing for the flowers to bloom all year round or for the forest animals to be safe. As Luna makes these wishes, a gentle, warm glow seems to fill her small cottage. The wishes carry on the soft night breeze, spreading a sense of peace and tranquility throughout Willowbrook. The story unfolds like a gentle lullaby, with Luna's wishes as the melody, guiding you through a world where kindness, magic, and simple joys prevail. It's a tale that will soothe your mind, relax your body, and perhaps even make you drift off into a peaceful slumber, all while experiencing the simple yet profound magic of Luna's bedtime wishes. Chapter 1: The Witch and Her Enchanted Cottage. In a world where magic lingered in the air like the sweet scent of wild flowers, there was a small, idyllic village named Willowbrook. Tucked away from the hustle and bustle of the larger cities, Willowbrook was a haven of tranquility, surrounded by rolling hills, lush meadows, and a dense, ancient forest that seemed to hold 1,000 secrets. At the edge of this village, where the forest met the village outskirts, stood a charming cottage, the home of a gentle-hearted witch named Luna. Luna was a woman of grace and wisdom, with long, silver-white hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall of moonlight. Her eyes, a deep shade of sapphire blue, held a warmth and kindness that could put even the most nervous soul at ease. She had lived in the cottage for as long as anyone in Willowbrook could remember, and over the years, she had become an integral part of the village's heart and soul. The cottage itself was a sight to behold. It was a small, two-story structure, with a thatched roof that was covered in a soft layer of green moss, giving it an almost fairy tale appearance. The walls were made of rough, hewn stone, which had been smoothed over time by the elements and the loving touch of Luna's magic. The front door was a deep, rich brown, with a large, iron knocker in the shape of a friendly-looking owl. Above the door, a small window was adorned with a box filled with an array of colorful flowers that seemed to bloom all year round, no matter the season. As the sun began its slow descent towards the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange, pink, and purple, Luna began her evening routine. She moved around her cottage with a quiet grace, lighting the beeswax candles that were placed strategically around the main room. The soft, golden light from the candles cast a warm glow over the stone walls, creating a cozy and inviting atmosphere. The candles not only provided light but also carried the sweet, honey-like scent of the beeswax, filling the air with a pleasant aroma. In the corner of the room, a small fireplace crackled merrily, adding to the warmth and comfort of the space. Luna had spent the afternoon gathering dry wood from the forest, carefully selecting the pieces that would burn evenly and brightly. The firewood was a mix of oak and birch, two types of wood that she knew would give off a pleasant heat and a gentle, woody smell. Once the candles were lit, Luna made her way to the window. Her favorite armchair, a well-worn but incredibly comfortable piece of furniture, was placed strategically by the window, allowing her to look out over the village and the forest beyond. She sank into the chair, feeling the softness of the cushions beneath her. The chair had been a gift from an old friend many years ago, and it had become a place of solace and reflection for her. Luna looked out at the village below. The cobblestone streets were slowly emptying as the villagers made their way home for the night. The last of the day's sunlight reflected off the windows of the houses, making them sparkle like precious gems. The sound of laughter and chatter from the villagers filled the air, a sound that Luna had come to cherish over the years. It was a sound of community, of people coming together after a long day of work. As the night deepened, Luna took a deep breath and closed her eyes. It was time for her nightly ritual, the making of her bedtime wishes. She believed that the night was a time of magic, when the veil between the worlds was thin, and wishes had a better chance of coming true. "I wish for a gentle rain to fall softly on the fields tomorrow," she murmured. "May the raindrops nourish the soil, so the crops will grow strong and healthy. Let the wheat sway in the breeze, heavy with grain, and the vegetables be plump and full of flavor." As she spoke, a faint, golden light seemed to emanate from her fingertips, floating out of the open window and into the night air. Outside, in the fields that surrounded the village, the plants seemed to stir. The blades of grass, which had been slightly wilted from the day's heat, perked up, as if they could sense Luna's wish. The flower buds on the fruit trees trembled slightly, as if in anticipation of the coming rain. The earth itself seemed to sigh, as if welcoming the promise of moisture. Luna then opened her eyes and looked out at the fields. She could almost feel the energy of the land responding to her wish. She knew that the rain would not only help the crops but also bring life and vitality to the entire ecosystem. The small insects that lived in the soil would be refreshed, and the birds that fed on the seeds would have a more abundant supply of food. Next, Luna made a wish for the children of Willowbrook. "I wish for the children to have sweet dreams tonight," she said, her voice soft and filled with love. May their dreams be filled with laughter and wonder, with adventures in far-off lands and encounters with friendly creatures. Let them wake up in the morning with smiles on their faces, ready to embrace the new day. Once again, the golden light appeared, carrying her wish to the homes where the children slept. In their beds, the children stirred. Little Tommy, who had been having a nightmare about a scary monster, suddenly found the monster turning into a friendly dragon that took him on a flight over the clouds. Lily, who had been feeling sad because she had lost her favorite doll, dreamed that the doll was found and was sitting beside her, smiling. Luna watched as the light disappeared into the night, knowing that her wishes were on their way to the children. She remembered her own childhood dreams, filled with magic and wonder, and she wanted the children of Willowbrook to experience the same sense of joy and imagination. As the night grew darker, Luna continued with her wishes. I wish for the old oak tree in the village square to live for many more years, she said. The oak tree was a landmark in Willowbrook. It had stood tall and proud for centuries, its branches reaching out like the arms of a wise old friend. May it continue to provide shade and shelter for generations to come. Let the children play beneath its branches, and may it be a place where the villagers gather to share their stories and their joys. The oak tree, which had been showing some signs of age, seemed to rustle its leaves in response to Luna's wish. The ancient tree had a presence of its own, and Luna had always felt a special connection to it. She had spent many afternoons sitting beneath its branches, reading books, or simply enjoying the peace and quiet. Luna then thought about the forest that surrounded the village. I wish for the forest to remain a place of beauty and mystery, she said. May the animals that live there be safe and protected. Let the deer graze in the meadows, the birds build their nests in the trees, and the rabbits play in the underbrush. And may the forest paths always be there for those who seek solace in nature. The golden light from her wish floated into the forest. The animals, which had been going about their evening routines, seemed to pause. The deer lifted their heads, their ears perked up, as if they had heard Luna's words. The birds chirped softly, as if in agreement. The forest, with its tall trees and thick underbrush, seemed to sigh with contentment. As Luna made her wishes, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. Each wish was a small act of love and kindness, a way for her to give back to the community and the natural world that she loved so much. She knew that her wishes, though they might seem small and simple, had the power to make a difference. As the candles burned down to their stubs, Luna leaned back in her chair. She was tired but content. The night had been filled with the magic of her wishes, and she could feel the positive energy spreading through the village and the surrounding areas. She closed her eyes and let herself drift off into a peaceful sleep, knowing that the world around her was a little bit better because of her bedtime wishes. In her dreams, she saw the fields of Willowbrook filled with healthy crops, the children playing happily in the village square, and the forest thriving with life. It was a vision of a world in harmony, a world where her wishes had come true. And as she slept, the gentle glow of the remaining candle light continued to shine, a symbol of the magic and hope that Luna carried with her always. Chapter 2: Wishes Unfolding in the Morning Light. The first rays of the sun peeked over the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over Willowbrook. Luna stirred in her sleep, slowly awakening to the gentle chirping of the birds outside her window. As she opened her eyes, she was greeted by the familiar sight of her cozy cottage, bathed in the soft light of dawn. The remnants of last night's candles had burned down completely, leaving behind a faint, sweet smell of beeswax. Luna stretched and rose from her bed, a sense of anticipation filling her. She was eager to see if her wishes from the previous night had come to fruition. After quickly dressing in a simple, flowing dress of pale blue, she made her way downstairs and outside. The air was fresh and crisp, filled with the earthy scent of the forest and the sweet aroma of the wild flowers that grew in abundance around her cottage. Luna took a deep breath, savoring the feeling of the cool morning air in her lungs. She looked out at the fields, and a smile spread across her face. Just as she had wished, a gentle rain had fallen during the night. The fields were damp, and the crops were thriving. The wheat stood tall and proud, its golden head swaying gently in the breeze. The vegetables in the gardens were plump and vibrant, their leaves glistening with droplets of water. Luna walked towards the fields, her feet sinking slightly into the soft, moist earth. She reached out and touched the leaves of a tomato plant, feeling the cool, wet surface beneath her fingertips. The rain was just what you needed, little one, she said softly to the plant, as if it could understand her. The plant seemed to respond, its leaves trembling slightly as if in agreement. Luna knew that the rain had not only provided much needed moisture but also washed away any dust or pests that might have been bothering the crops. As she made her way through the fields, Luna noticed the small insects scurrying around in the soil. The worms were wriggling happily, aerating the earth, and the ladybugs were feasting on the aphids that had been threatening the plants. It was a beautiful sight, a testament to the delicate balance of nature that her wish had helped to maintain. Leaving the fields behind, Luna made her way into the village. The cobblestone streets were already bustling with activity. The villagers were going about their morning routines, some carrying baskets of freshly baked bread, others leading their livestock to the pastures. The children, as always, were the most energetic. They were running and playing in the streets, their laughter echoing through the village. Luna spotted Lily and Tommy among the children. Lily was holding her favorite doll, which she had found in her dream last night. The little girl's face was beaming with joy. "Miss Luna," she called out as soon as she saw the witch. "I found my doll, just like in my dream." Luna knelt down to Lily's level. "I'm so glad, dear. I wished for you to have sweet dreams, and it seems the magic worked," she said, smiling. Tommy ran up to them, his eyes wide with excitement. "And I flew on a dragon, Miss Luna. It was the best dream ever," he exclaimed. Luna laughed. "I'm happy to hear that, Tommy. Dreams can be wonderful adventures, can't they?" As she continued walking through the village, Luna came across the village square. The old oak tree stood in the center, its branches reaching out protectively over the area. The tree seemed to have a newfound vitality. Its leaves were a deeper shade of green, and the trunk looked stronger and more robust. A group of villagers were gathered beneath the tree, enjoying the morning sun. Mr. Brown, the village blacksmith, was there, along with Mrs. Miller, the baker. They were chatting and laughing, and the atmosphere was one of warmth and community. "Good morning, Luna," Mr. Brown greeted her. "The tree seems to be in a much better state today. It's almost as if it heard your wish." Luna nodded. "I believe it did. I wished for it to live for many more years, and it seems to be responding." Mrs. Miller smiled. "Well, it's a good thing. This tree has been a part of our village for generations. It's like an old friend." Luna agreed. "Yes, it is. And I hope it will continue to be a part of Willowbrook for many more generations to come." Leaving the village square, Luna decided to visit the forest. As she walked along the forest path, she was greeted by the sounds of the forest waking up. The birds were singing their morning songs, and the squirrels were scurrying up and down the trees, gathering nuts. The air was filled with the rich, earthy smell of the forest floor, and the sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a dappled pattern on the ground. Luna walked deeper into the forest, her senses on high alert. She could feel the magic of the forest, a wild and untamed energy that was both beautiful and a little bit dangerous. She came across a small clearing where a family of deer was grazing. The mother deer looked up as Luna approached but did not seem alarmed. "Good morning, my friends," Luna said softly. "I see you're enjoying the fresh grass. I wished for your safety and well-being, and it seems all is well." The deer seemed to understand her words. The fawns continued to nibble on the grass, while the mother deer gave a gentle nod of her head. Luna spent a few more minutes watching the deer, enjoying their peaceful presence. As she walked further, Luna noticed a small stream that ran through the forest. The water was clear and cold, and it flowed over the smooth rocks with a gentle gurgling sound. Luna knelt down by the stream and dipped her hand into the water. The coolness of the water was refreshing, and she could feel the energy of the stream. She remembered wishing for the forest to remain a place of beauty and mystery, and it seemed that her wish was being fulfilled. The forest was as vibrant and alive as ever, filled with the sounds and sights of countless creatures going about their daily lives. As the morning wore on, Luna made her way back to the village. On her way, she passed by the village school. The children were sitting in the classroom, their faces pressed against the windows as they watched the world outside. Luna waved at them, and they waved back, their eyes filled with curiosity and wonder. Back in the village, Luna stopped by the market. The stalls were filled with fresh produce, handmade crafts, and all sorts of goods. The villagers were haggling and chatting, and the atmosphere was lively. Luna greeted the vendors and the customers, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Her wishes had contributed to the well-being of the village, and it was a wonderful feeling to see the community thriving. As she made her way back to her cottage, Luna thought about the power of her wishes. They were not just words spoken into the night, they were a way for her to connect with the world around her, to bring about positive change. And as she looked around at the beautiful village of Willowbrook, she knew that there were many more wishes to be made, many more ways to make the world a better place. That evening, as the sun began to set once again, Luna sat in her armchair by the window. The candles were lit, and the fire crackled merrily in the fireplace. She took a deep breath and prepared to make her bedtime wishes for the night. "I wish for the villagers to have a prosperous day tomorrow," she began. "May the farmers' harvest be plentiful, the merchants' sales be good, and the artisans' creations be appreciated. Let there be joy and laughter in every home." The golden light appeared, carrying her wish out into the night. Luna then thought about the forest again. "I wish for the forest to remain a sanctuary for all the creatures that live there. May the trees continue to grow tall and strong, and may the streams always flow clear." As she continued to make her wishes, Luna felt a sense of peace and contentment. She knew that her wishes, like the gentle rain that had fallen on the fields, would nourish and protect Willowbrook. And as she closed her eyes, ready to drift off into sleep, she had a feeling that tomorrow would bring more beauty and wonder to the village she loved so much. In her dreams that night, Luna saw the village bustling with activity. The farmers were loading their carts with bountiful harvests, the children were playing in the streets, and the forest was a place of magic and mystery. It was a vision of a village in harmony, a village where her wishes were making a difference. And as she slept, the golden light of her wishes continued to spread through Willowbrook, carrying with it the hope and love that Luna held in her heart. Chapter 3: Wishes in Times of Need. The days in Willowbrook passed with a gentle rhythm, filled with the warmth of the sun, the laughter of children, and the bustling activity of the villagers. However, one morning, a sense of unease settled over the village. Mr. Thompson, an elderly and well-loved villager, had fallen while working in his garden and injured his leg. The village healer had been called, but it was clear that the injury was severe, and the old man was in a great deal of pain. Luna heard the news as she was making her way to the market. Her heart sank at the thought of Mr. Thompson's suffering. She immediately changed her course and headed towards his cottage. When she arrived, she found the old man lying in his bed, his face pale with pain. His wife, Mrs. Thompson, was sitting by his side, holding his hand and looking worried. "Don't worry, Mrs. Thompson," Luna said softly as she entered the room. "I'm here to help." Luna sat down on the edge of the bed and took Mr. Thompson's other hand. She closed her eyes and focused her magic. She could feel the pain radiating from his injured leg, a sharp, throbbing sensation. Luna knew that while her magic was mainly in the form of wishes, she could channel her energy to help ease the pain and promote healing. "I wish for Mr. Thompson's broken leg to heal quickly," she murmured. "May the bones knit together, the muscles regain their strength, and the pain fade away. Let him be able to walk without discomfort once again." As she spoke, a soft, white light surrounded Mr. Thompson's leg. The old man gasped as he felt a strange, warm sensation spreading through his injured limb. The pain, which had been almost unbearable, began to subside. Mrs. Thompson looked on in amazement, tears of hope and gratitude welling up in her eyes. Luna continued to focus her energy for a few more minutes. When she finally opened her eyes, Mr. Thompson was looking at her in wonder. "The pain is much better, Luna," he said, his voice weak but filled with relief. Luna smiled. "That's good to hear, Mr. Thompson. But you still need to rest. The healing process will take some time, but I'll keep making wishes for your full recovery." Leaving the Thompsons' cottage, Luna's thoughts turned to another matter. Mrs. Harper, a kind-hearted woman in the village, had lost a locket that had been passed down through generations of her family. It was a precious heirloom, and she had been distraught ever since it went missing. Luna decided to use her bedtime wishes to help Mrs. Harper find the locket. That night, as she sat in her armchair by the window, she made her wish. "I wish for Mrs. Harper to find the lost locket that was given to her by her grandmother, she said. May it be revealed to her, no matter how well hidden it may be. Let the locket bring back the memories and the love that it represents. The golden light of her wish floated out into the night, carrying her hope for Mrs. Harper. Meanwhile, in the village, a strange thing was about to happen. The next day, Mrs. Harper was cleaning out an old chest in her attic. She had searched everywhere else for the locket and had almost given up hope. As she rummaged through the chest, moving aside old clothes and trinkets, she noticed a glint of metal. Her heart skipped a beat. Could this be it? With trembling hands, she reached for the object. It was the locket. Mrs. Harper let out a cry of joy. She couldn't believe that after days of searching, the locket had finally been found. She held the locket close to her heart, tears of happiness streaming down her face. As news of Mr. Thompson's improving condition and Mrs. Harper finding her locket spread through the village, the villagers were filled with a sense of wonder and gratitude towards Luna. They began to realize that her wishes were not just simple hopes but had real, world effects. However, a new challenge was about to face the village. A strange, dark cloud had been hovering over the forest on the outskirts of Willowbrook for the past few days. The cloud seemed to be sucking the life out of the trees and making the animals skittish. The forest, which was usually a place of beauty and tranquility, now felt ominous. Luna knew she had to do something. She made her way to the edge of the forest and looked up at the dark cloud. She could feel a dark, malevolent energy coming from it. It was as if an ancient evil had awakened and was threatening the balance of the forest and, by extension, the village. Luna sat down on a large rock at the edge of the forest. She took out a small, crystal-like amulet that had been in her family for generations. The amulet was said to have the power to purify and ward off dark magic. She held the amulet in her hands and began to chant softly. I wish for the dark cloud over the forest to be dispelled, she said, her voice firm. May the evil energy be broken, and the forest be restored to its former glory. Let the trees regain their vitality, the animals their peace, and the forest paths be safe once more. As she chanted, the amulet began to glow with a bright, white light. The light shot up towards the dark cloud, and a battle of energies ensued. The dark cloud seemed to resist at first, swirling and churning, but the light from the amulet was too strong. Slowly but surely, the dark cloud began to dissipate. The trees that had been wilted and blackened by the dark energy started to regain their color. The leaves turned green again, and the branches swayed gently in the breeze. The animals that had been hiding came out of their shelters, their fear replaced by a sense of calm. Luna continued to chant until the last remnants of the dark cloud had disappeared. She felt a sense of exhaustion wash over her. Using her magic in such a direct way was always draining, but she knew it was worth it to protect the forest and the village. Back in the village, the villagers noticed the change in the forest. The air seemed fresher, and the sense of foreboding that had been hanging over them had lifted. They knew that Luna had once again come to their rescue. That evening, a celebration was held in the village square. The villagers gathered around the old oak tree, carrying lanterns and food. There was music and dancing, and the atmosphere was filled with joy and gratitude. Luna was the guest of honor. Mr. Thompson, who was now able to walk with the help of a cane, came up to her and hugged her. "Luna, you've saved me from a lot of pain and suffering. I don't know how to thank you," he said. Mrs. Harper also approached her, the locket hanging around her neck. "This locket means the world to me, Luna. Thank you for helping me find it." Luna smiled. "I'm just glad I could help. This village is my home, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep it safe and happy." As the night went on, Luna sat on a bench, watching the villagers enjoying themselves. She knew that there would always be challenges, but as long as she had her magic and the support of the community, they could overcome anything. As the celebration came to an end, Luna made her way back to her cottage. She was tired but content. That night, as she sat in her armchair by the window, she made a wish for the continued unity and well-being of the village. "I wish for Willowbrook to always be a place of love, peace, and harmony," she said. "May we face whatever challenges come our way together, and may our community grow stronger with each passing day." The golden light of her wish filled the room, and as Luna closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, she had a feeling that the village would continue to thrive, protected by the power of her wishes and the spirit of the community. In her dreams, she saw Willowbrook as a shining example of a harmonious village, surrounded by a lush, healthy forest, and filled with happy, content villagers. And she knew that as long as she was there, she would do everything in her power to make that vision a reality. Chapter 4: The Festival of Wishes and the New Beginnings. In the aftermath of the dark cloud's disappearance, a sense of renewed hope and vitality filled Willowbrook. The villagers, inspired by Luna's actions and the power of her wishes, decided to hold a special festival, the Festival of Wishes. It was a time to celebrate the magic that had saved their village and to look forward to new beginnings. As the day of the festival dawned, the village was transformed into a wonderland of colors and sounds. The cobblestone streets were lined with stalls selling all sorts of treats, from freshly baked pies to hand-crafted trinkets. Bunting made of bright, colorful fabrics was strung up between the houses, fluttering gently in the breeze. Luna woke up early, filled with excitement. She put on a special dress, made of a soft, shimmering fabric that seemed to catch the light like 1,000 tiny stars. Her long, silver, white hair was braided and adorned with a wreath of wild flowers. As she stepped out of her cottage, she was greeted by the sounds of laughter and music. The festival was centered around the village square, where the old oak tree stood. A large stage had been set up, and musicians were already tuning their instruments. The smell of roasting chestnuts and warm cider filled the air, enticing villagers and visitors alike. Children were running around, their faces painted with bright colors. Some were playing with handmade kites, their strings dancing in the wind. Luna watched them with a smile on her face, feeling a sense of joy at the sight of their happiness. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the festival truly came to life. The mayor of the village, Mr. Jenkins, climbed onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of Willowbrook," he began, his voice booming. "Today, we gather to celebrate the Festival of Wishes. A festival that is a testament to the power of hope, the magic that surrounds us, and the strength of our community." The villagers cheered in response. Mr. Jenkins continued, "We have faced challenges, but with Luna's help and the power of her wishes, we have overcome them. Let this festival be a time for us to come together, to share our hopes and dreams, and to make new wishes for the future." After Mr. Jenkins' speech, the entertainment began. A group of dancers took the stage, their feet moving in intricate patterns to the lively music. Their colorful costumes added to the festive atmosphere, and the villagers watched with delight, some even joining in the dancing in the open spaces around the stage. Luna, meanwhile, was surrounded by a group of children. They were eager to hear stories about her magic and her wishes. "Miss Luna, can you tell us how you make your wishes come true?" asked a young boy named Tim. Luna sat down on a bench, and the children gathered around her. "Well, Tim," she began, "wishes are like seeds. You plant them with love and hope, and if you believe in them strongly enough, they can grow into something wonderful. But it's not just about making a wish and waiting. Sometimes, you have to work a little bit, too, to help that wish become a reality." Another child, a girl named Sarah, piped up. "But what if the wish is really big, like making the whole world a better place?" Luna smiled. "Even the biggest wishes can come true, Sarah. It might take time, and it might need the help of many people. But if we all work together, and if we all believe in the power of our wishes, anything is possible." As the afternoon wore on, the villagers decided to have a wish-making ceremony. Everyone was given a small piece of paper and a pen. They were asked to write down their wishes and then tie them to the branches of the old oak tree. Luna took her piece of paper and thought for a moment. Then, she wrote, "I wish for Willowbrook to always be a place where kindness and magic thrive. May our community continue to grow, and may we always be there for one another in times of need." She tied her wish to the tree, and as she did, she noticed that the other villagers were doing the same. Some wishes were for personal things, like a new job or a healthy family. Others were for the village as a whole, such as better roads or a new community center. As the sun started to set, casting a warm, orange glow over the village, the wishes on the tree seemed to come alive. A soft, golden light began to emanate from the paper wishes, creating a magical sight. The villagers watched in awe as the light grew brighter, surrounding the old oak tree in a halo of hope. That night, as the festival came to a close, the villagers gathered around the tree one last time. They knew that the Festival of Wishes was not just a one-day event but a symbol of their unity and their belief in a better future. Luna looked out at the villagers, her heart filled with pride. "Remember," she said, "our wishes are not just words. They are the starting point for the changes we want to see in our lives and in our village. Let's hold on to them, and let's work together to make them a reality." The villagers nodded in agreement. As they made their way home, they carried with them the spirit of the festival and the hope that their wishes would come true. Back at her cottage, Luna sat in her armchair by the window. The candles were lit, and the fire crackled softly. She closed her eyes and reflected on the day. It had been a wonderful celebration, a coming together of the community. But Luna also knew that there was always more work to be done. She thought about the wider world beyond Willowbrook. There were other villages, other places that might be in need of help. She decided that she would use her magic and her wishes to reach out to those places as well. That night, Luna made a new set of wishes. "I wish for the neighboring villages to find peace and prosperity," she said. "May they be free from illness, and may their crops be abundant. Let there be unity among all the villages in the land, so that we can share our knowledge and our resources." The golden light of her wishes floated out into the night, carrying her hopes for the wider community. As she continued to make her wishes, Luna felt a sense of determination. She knew that the road ahead might be long and filled with challenges, but she was ready. In her dreams that night, Luna saw a vision of a world where all the villages were connected by a network of kindness and cooperation. People were sharing their skills, their food, and their love. The land was prosperous, and the forests were filled with life. It was a vision of a future that she was determined to make a reality. The next morning, Luna woke up with a new sense of purpose. She decided to visit the neighboring villages. She packed a small bag with some of her magical items, including the crystal amulet that had helped her dispel the dark cloud. As she walked out of her cottage, she was greeted by a group of villagers. They had heard about her plans and wanted to come with her. "We want to help, Luna," said Mr. Brown, the blacksmith. "We can use our skills to help the other villages, too." Luna was touched. "That's wonderful, Mr. Brown. The more of us there are, the more we can achieve." And so, Luna and a group of willing villagers set off on a journey to the neighboring villages. They knew that they were embarking on a new adventure, one that would test their skills and their magic. But they were filled with hope and determination. As they walked along the dirt road, the sun shining down on them, Luna looked at her companions. She knew that together, they could make a difference. And as they continued on their journey, the spirit of the Festival of Wishes and the power of their combined wishes went with them, a beacon of hope in a world that sometimes needed a little bit of magic. As they approached the first neighboring village, they could see that it was a place in need. The houses were in disrepair, and the fields were overgrown. But Luna and her group were not deterred. They knew that with their skills, their magic, and their wishes, they could bring new life to this village. Luna stepped forward and addressed the villagers who had gathered to see the newcomers. "We're from Willowbrook," she said. "We've come to help. We believe that together, we can make this village a better place." The villagers of the neighboring village looked at her with a mix of hope and skepticism. But as Luna and her group started to work, showing their skills and sharing their knowledge, the skepticism began to fade. The blacksmiths from Willowbrook started to repair the broken tools and the fences. The farmers shared their knowledge of better farming techniques. And Luna, using the power of her wishes, helped to purify the water in the village well and to bring life back to the wilted plants in the gardens. As the days passed, the neighboring village started to change. The houses were repaired, the fields were once again fertile, and the villagers' spirits were lifted. The people of the two villages began to form a bond, sharing stories and traditions. Luna knew that this was just the beginning. There were more villages to visit, more people to help. But she was confident that with the power of wishes, the strength of the community, and the spirit of cooperation, they could bring hope and prosperity to every corner of the land. And as she looked out at the transformed village, she knew that the Festival of Wishes had truly set in motion a chain of events that would lead to a brighter future for all. Chapter 5: Spreading Hope Beyond Willowbrook. Luna and the Willowbrook villagers' efforts in the neighboring village had been a resounding success. The once forlorn village now bustled with activity. Fields that were once overgrown were now filled with healthy, thriving crops. The repaired houses stood sturdy, their windows glowing with the warmth of family gatherings. The villagers of the two communities had formed an unbreakable bond, sharing not only resources but also a new, found sense of unity. Buoyed by this success, Luna and her companions decided to continue their journey to other nearby villages. Their next destination was a small mountain village named Heatherdale. Perched on the slopes of a gentle mountain range, Heatherdale was known for its beautiful heather fields, but it had been facing a series of hardships. A long, lasting drought had parched the land, and a strange illness had befallen many of the livestock. As they approached Heatherdale, the group could see the signs of distress. The once purple heather fields were brown and withered, and the air was thick with a sense of despair. The villagers, their faces gaunt and tired, watched with a mix of curiosity and hope as Luna and the Willowbrookers arrived. Luna stepped forward, her kind eyes surveying the scene. "We've come to help," she announced. "We know you've been through a lot, but together, we can turn things around." The villagers of Heatherdale were initially hesitant. They had grown accustomed to disappointment, but something in Luna's voice and the determined faces of her companions gave them a glimmer of hope. Luna began by addressing the drought. She found a small, dried up stream that had once been the lifeblood of the village. Kneeling beside it, she took out her crystals, which seemed to hum with a soft, inner light. "I wish for the waters to return," she murmured. "May the rains come, gentle and nourishing, to fill this stream and bring life back to the land." As she spoke, a faint mist began to gather around the stream. The air grew heavy with moisture, and soon, droplets of water started to fall. At first, it was just a light drizzle, but it quickly turned into a steady rain. The villagers watched in awe as the stream slowly filled with water, the once dry bed now flowing with a clear, refreshing current. While Luna worked on the water supply, the Willowbrook farmers and healers were attending to the livestock. They shared their knowledge of natural remedies and proper animal care. They showed the Heatherdale villagers how to create a healthier environment for the animals, and within days, the sick livestock began to show signs of recovery. The blacksmiths and carpenters from Willowbrook set to work on improving the village's infrastructure. They repaired the dilapidated barns, ensuring that the animals would have proper shelter. They also fixed the tools that the villagers used for farming, making the work in the fields more efficient. As the days passed, the transformation in Heatherdale was remarkable. The heather fields, once brown and dead, began to sprout new growth. The purple flowers started to bloom again, painting the slopes with their vibrant color. The villagers, inspired by the efforts of Luna and the Willowbrookers, began to take an active part in the restoration of their village. One young man named Aiden was particularly inspired by Luna's magic. He approached her one day, his eyes filled with a thirst for knowledge. "Miss Luna," he said, "I want to learn how to use magic like you do. I want to be able to help my village in the future." Luna smiled warmly at him. "Magic is not just about waving a wand, Aiden. It's about believing in the power of good, in the connection between all things. If you have a pure heart and a strong will, you can learn to use magic for the betterment of others." Over the next few days, Luna taught Aiden the basics of magic. She showed him how to attune himself to the natural elements, how to sense the energy around him, and how to channel that energy into positive change. Aiden was a quick learner, and soon, he was able to perform small acts of magic on his own. As their time in Heatherdale drew to a close, the village was a transformed place. The villagers held a grand feast in honor of Luna and her companions. Tables were laden with delicious food, and there was music and dancing. The atmosphere was filled with joy and gratitude. Luna stood up and addressed the villagers. "We may be from different places, but we are all part of the same community. The power of helping one another is greater than any drought or illness. Remember, if you ever face difficulties again, reach out. There are always people willing to help." The villagers cheered in agreement. As Luna and the Willowbrookers prepared to leave, they were showered with gifts from the grateful Heatherdale villagers: handmade blankets, jars of honey, and baskets of freshly picked heather. On their journey back to Willowbrook, the group reflected on their experiences. "We've really made a difference, haven't we?" said Mrs. Miller, the baker from Willowbrook. Luna nodded. "Yes, we have. And there are still so many more places that need our help. The power of our combined efforts and wishes can reach far and wide." Back in Willowbrook, the news of their success in Heatherdale spread like wildfire. The villagers were filled with pride and a new sense of purpose. They knew that they were part of something bigger, a movement to bring hope and prosperity to all the villages in the region. Luna decided to hold a meeting in the village square to discuss their next steps. The old oak tree, as always, stood as a symbol of strength and unity. Villagers gathered around, eager to hear Luna's plans. "I think we should establish a network," Luna proposed. "A network of villages that support one another. We can share our skills, our resources, and our knowledge. This way, we can prevent future hardships and ensure that every village thrives." The villagers murmured in agreement. They spent the next few hours discussing the details of this network. They decided to send representatives to other villages to spread the word and to encourage them to join. As the days passed, the network began to take shape. Villages from far and wide started to send messages of support and a willingness to be part of this new community. Luna was overjoyed. She knew that this was a significant step towards creating a more harmonious and prosperous region. However, not everyone was happy about the growing network. A group of bandits, who had been preying on the isolated villages for years, saw the new found unity as a threat to their operations. They began to plot ways to disrupt the network and to bring chaos back to the villages. One night, as Luna sat in her cottage, she had a strange dream. In the dream, she saw a dark figure looming over the villages, causing destruction and fear. When she woke up, she knew that trouble was brewing. She immediately called for another meeting in the village square. "Villagers of Willowbrook," she said, her voice serious. "I believe there is a threat approaching. We must be prepared. Our new found unity has made us a target for those who seek to cause harm." The villagers listened intently. "What can we do, Luna?" asked Mr. Brown. Luna thought for a moment. "We need to strengthen our bonds. We should train together, learn how to defend ourselves. And most importantly, we should use the power of our wishes to protect our network and all the villages within it." The villagers nodded in determination. They knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but they were ready to face it together. With Luna's leadership and the power of their combined wishes, they were confident that they could overcome any threat. Over the next few weeks, the villagers of Willowbrook and the other villages in the network began to train. The blacksmiths made weapons and armor, while the farmers prepared to defend their lands. Luna, in the meantime, used her magic to create protective barriers around the villages. As they trained and prepared, the threat of the bandits loomed large. But the villagers were not afraid. They were united, and they had the power of hope and the magic of wishes on their side. And so, they waited, ready to face whatever the bandits had in store for them, knowing that they were fighting not only for their own villages but for a future of peace and prosperity for all. Luna continued to make her bedtime wishes, focusing on the safety and well-being of the network. "I wish for the bandits' hearts to be changed," she said one night. "May they see the error of their ways and choose the path of peace. But if they insist on violence, give us the strength and wisdom to defend ourselves and our villages." The golden light of her wishes filled the room, and as she closed her eyes, she knew that the outcome was uncertain, but she had faith in the power of the community and the magic that bound them together. The future of the villages hung in the balance, but Luna and the villagers were ready to do whatever it took to protect what they had built. In the following days, the tension in the air grew. The villagers could sense that the bandits were getting closer. But they were not going to be caught off guard. They had fortified their defenses, and their spirits were high. Luna walked through the villages, offering words of encouragement and using her magic to boost the villagers' confidence. The stage was set for a confrontation, and Luna knew that this would be a test of their unity, their skills, and the power of their wishes. But she was determined that the villages would emerge victorious, and that the network they had built would continue to thrive for generations to come. One morning, a scout from one of the outlying villages came running into Willowbrook. "The bandits are coming," he shouted. "They're on the move, and they seem to be heading straight for us." The villagers quickly sprang into action. They took their positions, weapons at the ready. Luna stood in the center of the village, her crystals in hand. She could feel the energy of the villagers, a mix of fear and determination. "Remember," she called out, "we are not alone. The power of our wishes and our unity will protect us." As the bandits approached, their faces masked with greed and malice, Luna began to chant. She called upon the power of the elements, the same power that had helped her in so many other situations. The air crackled with energy, and the ground beneath their feet seemed to tremble. The bandits, seeing the display of magic, hesitated for a moment. But their leader, a cruel-looking man named Garth, urged them forward. "Don't be afraid of their tricks," he shouted. "We can take them." But as they got closer, they were met with a wall of force. Luna had used the power of the earth crystal to create a solid barrier around the village. The bandits crashed into the barrier, stunned. The villagers of Willowbrook and the other villages in the network who had come to their aid began to fight back. The archers shot arrows from the rooftops, and the warriors charged forward, their swords and shields ready. Luna, in the meantime, continued to use her magic. She used the water crystal to create a large wave that washed over the bandits, knocking them off their feet. The fire crystal was used to create a wall of fire, blocking their escape. The bandits, realizing that they were outmatched, began to retreat. But Luna had other plans. She used the power of the spirit crystal to project a wave of calm and clarity. The bandits, caught in the wave, suddenly felt a sense of remorse. Garth, the leader, dropped his weapon. "What are we doing?" he said, his voice filled with confusion. "These people have done nothing to us. We've been living our lives all wrong." The other bandits nodded in agreement. Luna stepped forward. "It's not too late," she said. "You can change your ways. Join us, and we can build a better future together." Garth looked at her, his eyes filled with a new-found hope. "We'll do it," he said. "We're tired of living as bandits." And so, the threat was averted. The bandits, now reformed, were welcomed into the network of villages. They were given a chance to start anew, to use their skills for the betterment of the community. The villagers of Willowbrook and the other villages celebrated their victory. It was a victory not only over the bandits but also over the forces of darkness and division. Luna knew that this was a turning point. The network of villages was now stronger than ever, and the power of unity and the magic of wishes had once again triumphed. As the celebrations continued, Luna sat by the window of her cottage, looking out at the happy villagers. She knew that there would always be challenges in the future, but she was confident that as long as they remained united and believed in the power of their wishes, they could overcome anything. And with that thought, she closed her eyes, ready to rest, knowing that the villages were safe and that a new era of peace and prosperity had dawned. Chapter 6: The network grows and new challenges emerge. In the aftermath of the bandit incident, the network of villages Luna had helped to establish flourished. The once reformed bandits, now eager to prove themselves, integrated well into the community. They used their skills, such as tracking and self-defense, to assist in the village's security and development. The sense of unity among the villages was stronger than ever, and the land seemed to thrive under the new-found harmony. Luna, however, was not one to rest on her laurels. She saw the potential for the network to expand even further, to reach out to more distant villages and bring them into the fold of cooperation and mutual support. She organized a council of representatives from each village in the network. They met regularly under the old oak tree in Willowbrook, discussing ways to improve the lives of their people and strengthen their bonds. One day, a representative from a village named Silverbrook brought news of a problem that was affecting their community. "Our mines," he said, his face lined with worry, "have been producing less and less ore. We've tried everything, but it seems that there's some sort of blockage or curse in the mine shafts." Luna listened intently. "We'll come and take a look," she promised. "There must be a way to solve this problem." A group of experts, including miners from Willowbrook and Luna herself, set off for Silverbrook. When they arrived, they made their way to the mines. The entrance to the mine was dark and foreboding, and a strange, musty smell wafted out. Luna took out her crystals and entered the mine first. The narrow passageways were dimly lit by torches, and the air was thick with dust. As they walked deeper into the mine, they could hear strange, echoing noises. Suddenly, a large rock fell from the ceiling, narrowly missing one of the miners. "There's definitely something wrong here," Luna said. She closed her eyes and focused her magic, using the spirit crystal to sense any dark forces or disruptions. After a moment, she opened her eyes. I can feel a strange energy. It's as if something is trying to prevent the ore from being mined. But I think I know how to fix it." Luna began to chant, her voice echoing through the mine shafts. She used the power of the earth crystal to strengthen the mine's structure, preventing any more rocks from falling. Then, with the water crystal, she created a gentle stream that flowed through the shafts, washing away the dust and debris. As she continued to work, the miners started to notice a change. The strange noises stopped, and the air seemed to clear. They began to dig again, and to their amazement, the ore started to appear more plentifully. The problem in the Willowbrook mines was just one example of the issues that the network of villages faced. Another village, Greenfield, was having trouble with its water supply. The wells were drying up, and the villagers were worried about their crops and their daily needs. Luna and a team of villagers from Willowbrook traveled to Greenfield to investigate. When they arrived, Luna walked around the village, studying the land and the water sources. She noticed that the ground was unusually dry, and the water levels were extremely low. She found a small spring on the outskirts of the village that had almost dried up. Kneeling beside it, she took out her crystals once again. "I wish for the water to flow freely," she murmured. "May the earth release its hidden reserves and fill this spring and the wells of Greenfield." As she spoke, the ground around the spring began to tremble slightly. A small trickle of water started to emerge, and within minutes, the spring was flowing again. The water spread through the underground channels, filling the wells of the village. The villagers of Greenfield were overjoyed. They watched as their wells filled with clear, fresh water. They knew that Luna and the network of villages had once again come to their rescue. As the network grew, so did the need for better communication and resource sharing. Luna proposed the construction of a series of messenger stations between the villages. These stations would be staffed by villagers who would carry messages, news, and small items of trade between the communities. The construction of the messenger stations was a massive undertaking, but the villagers were eager to make it happen. They worked together, building small huts at strategic locations along the paths between the villages. Each station was equipped with horses and supplies for the messengers. While the network was making great progress, there was one village that was hesitant to join. The village of Prevail was isolated in a valley, surrounded by thick mist for most of the year. The villagers of Prevail were a proud and independent people, and they were wary of outside interference. Luna decided to visit Prevail herself to try and convince them to join the network. When she arrived, she was greeted with suspicion. The villagers looked at her with guarded eyes as she entered their village square. "I'm Luna," she said, smiling warmly. I come from the network of villages that has been working together to help one another. We've seen great improvements in the lives of our people, and I believe Mistvale could benefit too. An old man stepped forward. We've managed on our own for so long. Why should we join your network? He asked. Luna looked around at the village. The houses were in need of repair, and the fields were not as productive as they could be. I understand your concerns, she said. But by joining the network, you would have access to resources, knowledge, and support. We could help repair your houses, improve your farming techniques, and ensure a better future for your children. The villagers of Mistvale listened intently. Luna spent the next few days in the village, showing them the power of her magic and the benefits of cooperation. She helped to clear the mist that often shrouded the village, using the air crystal to create a gentle breeze that dispersed the fog. As the days passed, the villagers of Mistvale began to see the potential. They saw how Luna and the other villagers from the network worked together selflessly. Slowly but surely, they started to warm up to the idea of joining. Finally, the village elders called a meeting. After much discussion, they decided to join the network. The villagers of Mistvale were welcomed with open arms by the other villages in the network. With Mistvale on board, the network became even more diverse. The villagers of Mistvale had unique skills, such as weaving and herbal medicine, which they shared with the other villages. In return, they learned new farming techniques and construction methods. However, as the network expanded, it caught the attention of a powerful sorcerer who lived in a dark tower on the outskirts of the region. The sorcerer, named Thaddeus, was jealous of the growing unity and prosperity of the villages. He had always preferred to keep the villages in a state of chaos and dependency on his magic. Thaddeus began to plot ways to disrupt the network. He used his dark magic to create illusions and cause confusion among the villagers. One night, he sent a group of spectral creatures to attack a village on the outskirts of the network. The creatures, made of pure shadow, caused panic as they rampaged through the village, destroying crops and frightening the livestock. The villagers were terrified. They didn't know how to fight these strange, shadowy creatures. Word of the attack spread quickly through the network, and Luna was alerted. She immediately gathered a group of brave villagers and set off for the attacked village. When they arrived, they found the village in chaos. The spectral creatures were still causing destruction. Luna knew she had to act fast. She took out her crystals and began to chant. The light from her crystals cut through the darkness, and the spectral creatures hissed in pain as the light touched them. Using the power of the fire crystal, she created a wall of flames that surrounded the creatures. The heat from the flames weakened the creatures, and they started to fade away. But Thaddeus was not going to give up easily. He increased the power of his dark magic, sending more spectral creatures to the village. Luna called upon the power of the other crystals. The water crystal was used to create a large wave that washed over the creatures, and the earth crystal was used to create barriers to contain them. The villagers, inspired by Luna's courage, joined in the fight. They used their weapons and their own inner strength to help defeat the spectral creatures. As the battle raged on, Luna realized that she needed to find a way to stop Thaddeus at the source. She decided to make a dangerous journey to his dark tower. She knew that facing the sorcerer would be a great risk, but she was determined to protect the network of villages. Before she left, she addressed the villagers. "I'm going to stop Thaddeus," she said. "But I need you all to be strong. Keep fighting, and don't let his dark magic divide us." The villagers nodded, their eyes filled with determination. Luna then set off on her journey, her crystals in hand, ready to face whatever challenges awaited her in the sorcerer's tower. The fate of the network of villages hung in the balance, and Luna was their last hope. As she approached the dark tower, the air grew colder, and the ground seemed to be covered in a layer of frost. The tower loomed large in front of her, its windows glowing with an eerie, purple light. Luna took a deep breath and stepped forward, knowing that she was about to face one of the greatest tests of her magic and her courage. The door to the tower creaked open as she approached. Inside, the tower was filled with strange, dark artifacts and potions. The walls were lined with shelves filled with books on dark magic. Luna could feel the presence of Thaddeus, his dark energy filling the air. Suddenly, Thaddeus appeared in a puff of black smoke. "You shouldn't have come, Luna," he sneered. "You're no match for my power." Luna stood her ground. "Your reign of fear ends here, Thaddeus. The villages will not be destroyed by your dark magic." With that, the battle between Luna and Thaddeus began. Thaddeus launched a blast of dark energy at Luna, but she quickly created a shield using the power of the crystals. The shield glowed with a bright, white light, repelling the dark energy. Luna counter-attacked, using the power of the fire crystal to send a stream of flames towards Thaddeus. The sorcerer, however, was not easily defeated. He used his magic to create a wall of ice that blocked the flames. The battle continued, with each side launching powerful attacks. Luna knew that she had to find a way to break through Thaddeus' defenses. She focused all her energy on the spirit crystal, the most powerful of her crystals. As she channeled the power of the spirit crystal, a wave of pure, positive energy spread through the tower. The dark artifacts and potions began to shake, and the walls of the tower started to crumble. Thaddeus was caught off guard by the strength of Luna's attack. He tried to counter with his dark magic, but the power of the spirit crystal was too strong. With a final, powerful blast of energy, Luna shattered Thaddeus' dark magic. The sorcerer fell to his knees, defeated. "You've won," he said, his voice filled with bitterness. "But this is not the end." Luna looked at him. "It is the end of your reign of terror. The villages will continue to thrive, and you will no longer be able to cause them harm." With that, Luna left the dark tower. As she walked away, the tower began to collapse behind her. The villagers, who had been waiting anxiously, cheered as they saw Luna returning victorious. The threat of Thaddeus was eliminated, and the network of villages was once again safe. Luna knew that there might be other challenges in the future, but she was confident that as long as the villages remained united and used the power of their wishes and their combined skills, they could overcome anything. The network of villages, now stronger than ever, looked forward to a future of peace, prosperity, and continued growth. Chapter 7: The Aftermath of the Battle and New Horizons. In the wake of Luna's victory over Thaddeus, a wave of relief and celebration washed over the network of villages. The once menacing dark tower now lay in ruins, a symbol of the defeated evil. The villagers, who had been living under the shadow of the sorcerer's threat, now dared to dream of a future filled with even greater prosperity and unity. Luna, hailed as a hero throughout the region, was greeted with adulation wherever she went. But she remained humble, her focus shifting quickly to the task of rebuilding and strengthening the network. She knew that the battle with Thaddeus had been a wake-up call, highlighting the need for continuous growth and preparedness. The first order of business was to repair the damage caused by the spectral creatures in the attacked village. Villagers from all corners of the network flocked to the affected area, bringing with them tools, supplies, and a spirit of cooperation. The farmers worked to replant the destroyed crops, while the carpenters and masons set about fixing the damaged houses and fences. Luna, in the meantime, used her magic to help speed up the process. She employed the power of the earth crystal to enrich the soil, ensuring that the newly planted crops would grow strong and healthy. With the water crystal, she created small irrigation channels, providing a steady supply of water to the fields. As the days passed, the attacked village was transformed. The fields once again sprouted with green shoots, and the houses were restored to their former glory. The villagers, their spirits lifted, held a grand celebration to mark the occasion. There was music, dancing, and an abundance of food, a testament to the resilience and unity of the community. But Luna's vision extended beyond just repairing the damage. She believed that the network needed to be more self-sufficient and better protected. She proposed the establishment of a training academy where villagers could learn a variety of skills, from advanced farming techniques to combat training. The idea was met with enthusiasm. The villagers recognized the importance of being prepared for any future threats. A suitable location was found on the outskirts of Willowbrook, a large, open area surrounded by forests. The construction of the academy began, with villagers from different trades contributing their skills. The carpenters built the main buildings, while the masons laid the foundations. The blacksmiths crafted the tools and weapons that would be used in the training. Luna, using her magic, ensured that the construction process was smooth. She used the earth crystal to strengthen the structures, making them more durable. As the academy took shape, Luna started to plan the curriculum. She invited experts from the different villages to teach. The farmers would instruct on new methods of crop rotation and animal husbandry. The warriors who had fought alongside Luna against the spectral creatures would teach combat skills, including sword fighting, archery, and self-defense. In addition to practical skills, there would also be classes on magic. Luna intended to train a new generation of magic users, those who could use their powers for the betterment of the community. She believed that by spreading the knowledge of magic, the network would be better equipped to face any magical threats in the future. While the academy was under construction, Luna also focused on expanding the network's reach. She sent out messengers to even more distant villages, inviting them to join the network. The messengers carried tales of the network's success, of how villages had come together to overcome challenges and build a better life. One such village, a small community named Riverford, was located near a large, meandering river. Riverford had always been a prosperous village, but it had faced its fair share of problems, such as flooding during the rainy season and difficulties in trading its goods due to poor transportation links. When the messenger from the network arrived in Riverford, the villagers were initially skeptical. But as they listened to the stories of how the network had helped other villages, they began to see the potential benefits. A delegation from Riverford was sent to visit the network and see for themselves. Luna and the other villagers welcomed the Riverford delegation with open arms. They showed them around the villages, highlighting the improvements in infrastructure, the successful farming methods, and the strong sense of community. The Riverford villagers were impressed. After much discussion, the village elders of Riverford decided to join the network. In return for their membership, Riverford offered its expertise in fishing and boat building. The villagers of Riverford were skilled fishermen, and their boats were known for their durability and speed. With Riverford on board, the network's resources and skills expanded even further. The fishermen from Riverford taught the other villagers advanced fishing techniques, and the boat builders helped to improve the transportation infrastructure of the network. They built larger, more efficient boats that could be used for trade along the river and the nearby lakes. As the network grew, so did the need for a more organized system of governance. Luna proposed the creation of a council of elders, made up of representatives from each village. The council would be responsible for making decisions that affected the network as a whole, such as resource allocation, defense strategies, and trade agreements. The Council of Elders was established, and its members met regularly in a large, central building in Willowbrook. They discussed various issues, from how to deal with potential future threats to how to promote the growth of the network. Luna, as a respected figure in the network, often attended the meetings, offering her insights and advice. However, not all was smooth sailing. Some villagers in the network began to express concerns about the growing power of the council. They worried that their individual villages' needs might be overlooked in favor of the network's overall interests. Luna, aware of these concerns, made it a point to listen to the villagers' grievances. She organized town hall style meetings in each village, where the villagers could voice their opinions and concerns directly. At these meetings, Luna explained the purpose of the council and how it was intended to serve the best interests of all the villages. She also encouraged the villagers to participate more actively in the decision-making process by electing representatives who truly understood their needs. As time passed, the network continued to evolve. The training academy was completed, and the first batch of students began their courses. The Council of Elders, with the input of the villagers, made decisions that helped to further strengthen the network. The villages, now more connected than ever, traded their goods and services, shared their knowledge, and supported one another in times of need. One day, a group of travelers arrived in Willowbrook. They were from a far-off land, a place that was facing a series of natural disasters. The travelers had heard of the network's success in dealing with various challenges and had come to seek help. Luna and the Council of Elders listened intently as the travelers described their plight. Their land was experiencing earthquakes, floods, and droughts, all at once. The people were suffering, and their villages were in ruins. Luna knew that this was a huge challenge, but she also saw it as an opportunity for the network to extend its reach and help those in need. She proposed that a team of experts from the network be sent to the far-off land to assist in the recovery efforts. The Council of Elders agreed, and preparations began. The team consisted of farmers, engineers, healers, and magic users. They packed their tools, supplies, and knowledge, ready to embark on the long journey. Luna, as the leader of the team, knew that this would be a test of the network's capabilities. But she was confident in the skills and determination of the team members. She also knew that by helping this far, off land, the network would not only be doing a great service but also learning valuable lessons that could be applied to their own future challenges. As the team set off on their journey, the villagers of the network watched with pride. They knew that their network was no longer just a local community but a force for good that could reach out and make a difference in the world. Luna, at the head of the team, looked forward to the new adventure, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the far off land and to bring hope and restoration to those in need. The journey to the far off land was long and arduous. The team had to cross mountains, deserts, and vast plains. Along the way, they faced various challenges, from harsh weather conditions to encounters with wild animals. But they used their skills and the power of their unity to overcome these obstacles. When they finally reached the affected land, they were met with a scene of devastation. The villages were in ruins, the fields were barren, and the people were in despair. But Luna and the team did not falter. They immediately set to work. The farmers began to assess the soil and plan for replanting. They taught the local people new farming techniques that could withstand the changing climate. The engineers started to design and build structures that could resist earthquakes and floods. The healers went from village to village, treating the injured and sick. Luna, using her magic, played a crucial role. She used the power of the earth crystal to stabilize the ground, preventing further earthquakes. With the water crystal, she created artificial lakes and irrigation systems to combat the drought. The fire crystal was used to purify the water and provide heat for the people. As the days passed, the land began to show signs of recovery. The fields were once again green with new crops, and the villages were being rebuilt. The people, inspired by the efforts of Luna and the team, started to take an active part in the restoration process. The team from the network also took the time to learn from the local people. They discovered unique local knowledge, such as traditional building materials that were more earthquake-resistant and native plant species that could thrive in the harsh conditions. As their work in the far off land neared completion, Luna knew that this experience had not only helped the people of this land but had also enriched the network. The knowledge and skills they had gained would be shared with the other villages in the network, making them better prepared for any future natural disasters. The people of the far off land were grateful. They held a grand celebration in honor of Luna and the team. It was a celebration of hope, of new beginnings, and of the power of cooperation. Luna and the team, filled with a sense of accomplishment, prepared to return to their own land. They knew that they were bringing back more than just memories. They were bringing back a new sense of purpose and a wealth of knowledge that would further strengthen the network of villages. Back in the network, the team was greeted as heroes. The villagers listened intently as they shared their stories of the far-off land and the challenges they had overcome. Luna knew that the network had entered a new phase, one where it was not only focused on its own growth and protection but also on helping others. And as she looked out at the cheering villagers, she was filled with a sense of pride and anticipation for the future of the network.